this time, it is my pleasure to start the Screen Gems Sony presentation, and I will be introducing the host, Mr. Dalton Ross.
Love it. I'm Dalton Ross from Entertainment Weekly magazine. Alright, cool. We have 3 great panels for you today. A little bit later, we have the folks from Evil Dead out here. We're going to have the guys from This Is the End up here on the stage. But one question I want to get before we start. Do we have any mundanes in the house? Over there. This panel's for you. The Mortal Instruments book series by Cassandra, Clare. It's shown us what happens when a seemingly ordinary girl enters an extraordinary world. A world that only she seems able to see. There she's introduced to shadow hunters, demons, downworlders, and a past she was never meant to know about. Well, now it's time to be introduced to the movie adaptation of the first of Cassandra's books, and now it's time for you to be introduced to the cast of the Mortal Instruments. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the woman who plays Clary Frey, Lily Collins. I promise you she's going to come out any second right now.
She's so badass.
Chase Whalen himself, Jamie Campbell. The man they call Alec Lightwood, we call him Kevin Zegers. He's about to come out.
Oh my God.
And the author of Immortal Instruments, Cassandra, Clare. Welcome, guys. Yeah, you don't have to stand the whole time. I mean, I have to stand the whole time. You guys actually get to take a seat. Yeah, look at that room, huh? Nice, right? Cassie, I want to start with you on the end over there.
Okay.
What's it like to see this creation of yours and your written words sort of come alive on the big screen and see these characters you've envisioned in your mind now sitting right here next to you in the flesh and blood? Is that like a surreal experience or what?
It's extremely surreal to be sitting with Harry and Jason Alec. They only lived in my head for such a long time, and it was really, I think the most weird thing was to walk onto the set and to see that they had built all the sets that I had described in the books, the City of Bones, the Institute, the library, Clary's house, everything was real. I could touch it. I freaked out completely.
Was there any particular scene or location you were really excited or wondering how are they going to put this on film? Was it any sort of thing particularly that you're excited to see transported to the screen?
Well, I really want to see what the demons look like. I actually haven't yet because that's most of the special effects. But I also want to see Magnus's party. I got to be an extra for that, so that was really fun.
Oh, cool. So what are you wearing so we can make sure we see you in that?
Hat, ears. They put them on my head. They wouldn't come off either. So once I left the set, I couldn't actually get the ears off. I had to go home on the plane through security with the ears off. And they were like, what's with the ears? And I was like, I was in a movie, and they were like,
I think that's a strong look myself. I think it's a good look. Lily, one of the things I think that makes these books really resonate with readers is that Clary's such a strong female character, and she's someone that's, it's in the sense you're playing someone that's not only being introduced to this strange new world, but very quickly makes herself comfortable or handles herself really well in this world. Is that what sort of attracted you to this?
Yeah, I saw Clary as being this feisty go-getter who never gives up, and every 5 minutes she's thrown a question of what or why, making her question how she thought she grew up, and I think she has to handle it in a way that doesn't make her a constant victim, because it would be very easy to constantly be in this position of, oh, poor me, but that's not who Clary is, and she really fights for what she believes in. The constant storyline is that she's going after her mother, so she's always propelled forward, and she finds help along the way, but she never gives up, and I really, really admire her for that.
Jamie, first of all, is this guy Jace Whalen or what? Look at him. It's like, it has to be like a cloning. brought him to life on the spot. You obviously, Jamie, got to do a lot of sword work on the Star Series Camelot. So did that training come in handy? Were you able to slice and dice a little bit on this one?
Yeah, it was a good sort of grounding basis, I suppose. You know, this was far beyond anything that I'd ever done before, and physically incredibly draining for me. I'm just distracted by a big picture of my face down there, and knowing,
Don't look behind
knowing
you.
what's
Whatever
going
you do,
on
do
behind
not
me is
look
actually.
behind you.
I'm incredibly vain, so all I want to do is just look at myself. No, it was pretty physically demanding for me, and for all of us, I think, actually. So at the end of the day, you know, we'd go back and sort of just pass out. You know, we were done, so done.
Kevin, you've done tons of movies, a lot of TV work, but I'm not sure you've ever done anything that's with this big of a built-in audience before you guys even filmed a single frame. So what's it been like sort of acclimating yourself to this world and the fandom sort of surrounding all of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the good thing for me is I didn't have a lot of time to think about it. I auditioned a week before I was in Toronto rehearsing, so I didn't really have the time to sort of freak out over how many fans there are of the books and really get a perspective until we were really filming. So, you know, it's great. And I think all of us, once we got together and with Harold, started talking about the movie, I think it became about making the best movie that sort of, you know, would please the fans of the books, but also just to make a great film. I mean, it's difficult to balance the two, but I hope we've been able to do that. So.
And there's always the question, Cassie, of when you have a book that becomes a film in terms of what can make it on the screen. You can't put everything in there or be too long. But in terms of the stuff that is translated from the book to the screen, I mean, you know, you take something like the Harry Potter franchise, which stayed very true to what happened in the books. Then you look at something like, say, The Walking Dead, which uses that as a template but goes off in other directions. Does this stay pretty faithful to the original source material?
Well, I mean, I feel like it stays pretty true to the spirit of the books. I feel like Harold and the producers and the cast were pretty committed to keeping it within the kind of spirit of the characters, you know, and their world. There are, you know, some things that have to be compressed and composited, and there are things that have to be, you know, altered, because otherwise it would be a 10-hour movie, which I would watch, but nobody else would watch. And, you know, keeping in mind, I haven't seen the final movie. I feel like what I saw, you know, especially in terms of the casting sets, the sets design, the costume stuff, it looked like, you know, they were really trying to stick as close to everything that was described in the book as possible.
Lily, you come in playing this character of Clare that readers already know. They have a vision in their mind, that they've read the books of what this person looks like and how she acts from reading the books, and now that becomes you. Was there a pressure that went along with that in terms of like this, you're not playing a character that's a blank slate to audience, but rather like in Mirror Mirror with Snow White, if you're adapting from the source material that people aren't familiar with, is that any pressure at all in terms of that?
I mean, I think with any franchise, I mean, I was a fan of the books before I was cast, so for me, I already had an image of who Clary should be in my head, so to all of a sudden be that image, it's definitely a role that I was honored to take on, and the second that Cassandra kind of signed off on me, I had a lot of confidence in that, and at the end of the day, you just have to involve yourself as much as you can in the process, but know that you also have to keep a separation between what everyone's expecting and what you can do. Because if you focus too much on what everyone's expectations are, then I can't live in the moment and actually be Clary. I hope that I was able to portray everything I wanted to and that I can live up to everyone's idea of what Clary is. But at the end of the day, we wanted to make her a girl that everyone could be friends with, that is thrust into these crazy situations, and hopefully is relatable to everyone.
How'd you like being a redhead?
I loved it. I was a redhead for Priest, and then I went to like black, and then I went back to red, and now I've like lost my own sense of what my natural color is at all anymore. So if you'll have me as Clary for a while, I'm willing to be a redhead for a while.
Oh, all right.
It's quite the statement to
Yeah.
make. It never comes out again. So.
Jamie, Jace is a pretty arrogant guy in the book. Is this arrogance, or do you see some of this arrogance on screen?
Absolutely, of course. I wouldn't be doing him justice if there was no arrogance there. He's incredibly sarky and arrogant, but there's also this vulnerability to him as well, which is actually what really drew me to him, and what I love about him, you know, is when he opens up to Clary and when he lets his guard down and then ultimately feels, you know, that's betrayed and then holds himself back up again like a little teenager. I love that. I love that whole just conflict that exists within him. So you get to see that a little bit.
Okay. And Kevin, obviously this is a whole series of books, we know, so the question for you as an actor is, when you took the part of this film, did you just want to concern yourself with what happens in the first one, what you're playing, and sort of not know what happens later? Because maybe that, or do you just want to peek ahead to see your fate, maybe your character's fate later on?
Well, I mean, I initially read the script, so that before I even read the books or anything, that was kind of my first exposure to the story. And obviously, you read ahead to what ends up happening. I didn't want to get too far in because I feel like it just subconsciously you'll end up sort of leaking some of the stuff that happens later into the character. So I think the great thing for me about Alec is he, especially in the first book, he's sort of enigmatic. You don't really know what's going on with him. So for me, that's fun to play because, you know, especially in a film, you can sort of let the audience decide whether they like him or what they think's going on with him, and you don't have to define him so well right away. So.
You're so pretty, by the way. I'm just looking.
Yeah, I want to make it clear that Jamie's not just watching himself on TV, he's watching everyone else.
I'm checking everybody out over here.
Checking everyone out.
Thank you, Jamie.
Cassie, there's some situations where the original writer's very involved in the film, others where they're just very hands-off. What was sort of your role in sort of the creation of this film and your input?
I was more involved than I thought that I would be. I generally expect that, you know, when you're the author, you sell your rights and then you don't see anybody again until maybe the premiere, if then. So the fact that they wanted me involved at all, I was pretty excited about. And then I was talking to one of the producers and I said, hey, can you give me, this is, you know, really early on, can you give me the casting director's phone number? And he was like, sure. And I was like, God, did nobody give you the memo? You're not supposed to give me that? I was like, fine, all right, I'll take it. I called her, we talked for hours. We used to like talk to each other literally there were months where I talked to her every single day. And I had, you know, access to the servers. I watched all the auditions. I watched everybody's auditions. And we all got kind of a vote on the casting. And Harold really involved me in the set design, the costumes, like everything. He kind of ran by me, like, is this what, you know, the Morgenstern ring looks like, which actually Jamie is currently wearing. And like, is this what Isabel's witch looks like? And is this what these witch lights look like? And so everything kind of like, you know, the more that they consulted me, the more that I felt, you know, confident about the movie.
Well, it's been so cool talking to these guys about the Mortal Instruments, but I was curious whether you guys would like to maybe see some of the Mortal Instruments. Would you guys like to be the first people in the world to see a brand new trailer? All right, well, Shadowhunters and Monday's Light, get ready because here it is, the world